Okay, my friends, this is going to be fun. This is one of my favorite guys, and everybody knows who Nikola Tesla was. And he was not well received during his own time, and everybody deferred to Einstein. Well, Einstein said, if you want to know the smartest guy on earth, you got to talk to Nikola Tesla. So, anyway, what he said is about energy. Energy is the key to everything. He says, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy. Now, it should have stopped there. And then it should have continued on and say, frequency and vibration are the origin of energy. Energy is nothing until you have frequency and vibration. Energy is the product of frequency and vibration. We're going to go through this, and Nikola Tesla did not have what I have. He didn't have this. Whoops. He didn't have this, Rodney Warren. And this is where we can see the actual particles of light and all of that from Rod's experiments. And that's the one thing he did not have. Now I'm gonna go through 11 of his quotes. Very, very good quotes. This guy was brilliant. All right, now check this out. 11 quotes by Nikola Tesla will fire up the genius in your mind. He was one of the greatest inventors in history. Now, success comes to those who wait. A new idea must not be judged by its immediate results. Well, that's for sure. We are a sum total of our experiences. As I review the events of my past life, I realize how subtle are the influences that shape our destinies. The tiniest little thing can cause the huge change in how you end up. Most geniuses are loners. Well, be alone. That is the secret of invention. Be alone. That is when ideas are born. Well, I follow that rule. Humans need new toys every day. And I found out that's true. We crave for new sensations. It's always the rush, but soon become indifferent to them. The wonders of yesterday are today common occurrences. Just like my Mudfossils. When I first found them, I found not one single person, none, zero, that would even talk to me about it. And still today people are finding that, but it's become now the people that understand it, yeah, we all know all about that, it's no big deal. And this is what happens. Things come, and then all of a sudden they're accepted, and then, yeah, well, everybody knows that. These are most memorable words. I don't care that they stole my idea. I care they don't have any of their own. And they have none of their own. They're all pushed into their minds, and they're forced to say the things that they're forced to say, to stay employed, basically. My method is different. I do not rush into actual work. When I get an idea, I start at once building it up in my imagination. Exactly what I do. I change the construction. You got to think it through. I make improvements, obviously. I operate the device entirely in my mind. Yes, that's the only way to do it. I don't do it entirely in my mind. I do it with books, and I write everything down as I go forward, and then I make changes. And then I have a final copy. Well, hold on one second. All right, you see this? This is my final copy, but this is for me. This is not for any to go and present to any prospective employer or anything. But these are and energy equals brilliance, equals luminosity. All right, you see that? That's energy. That's starting to get a little energy. That's serious energy. And that's what we did with our Venturi. And hopefully, if we can do that in a little device like this, that laser can pump out more energy than it requires. That means you can pulsate down through a photodiode, boof, 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 because that's what a pulsing laser does. it keeps squirting this white particles through that gate. Once it gets on the other side of the gate, it's all over. Oops, the gate's here. Can't go back. It's just like a valve. Goes this way, can't go back. So then you end up with a whole extra bunch of electricity, which is these electrons. Those white particles are electrons, and they are known as electrons by they call them electron showers. See this? You've seen the black ball, which is the muon, and the white ball, which is the electron neutrino. When they concuss and turn into Cherenkov radiation, the black ball stays exactly the same, and the white ball turns into showers of electrons. So you end up with tons of electrons produced by a single electron neutrino crash. And that's exactly what we did. And coming out the other side, the black ball separated from the white only, the electron showers, and they create zillions of electrons come through here. We pulse that through, and if we could pulse that through at a certain speed, a certain vibration, a certain frequency, a certain intensity, and drive it down in pulsation waves through the gate, which is the diode, into whatever we want to use that electricity for, and then pump a little back to keep the laser going. This should be literally free energy. That's an enormous increase in value. Luminosity is energy. Okay, simple as this. What is luminosity? Luminosity is a measurement of the total energy emission. All right, you see what they're doing? High luminosity collider. And the luminosity is the key. They want to increase the luminosity by a factor of 10, which our luminosity is off the charts because we're only using light. Now listen to this. The high luminosity LHC, which should be operational at the beginning of 2029, will allow physicists to study known mechanisms in greater detail, such as the Higgs boson, and observe rare new phenomena that might reveal themselves. Well, I'm showing a lot of rare new phenomena. For example, the high luminosity LHC will produce 15 million Higgs bosons per year, compared to around 3 million from the old LHC from 2017. Well, they're looking for Higgs bosons. Let me show you about Higgs bosons. All right, these are Higgs bosons, and all they are is circular fields. They crash particles head on, and then they get all this debris. Now, that's what the LHC shows as a Higgs boson. Now, this is the newest look of the Higgs boson. Same sort of thing, all these circular patterns, and then all of these real high energy ones taken off and not creating circular patterns. So they're very confused now about Higgs bosons. Well, I can show you Higgs bosons right here. And these are what happens after we separated the light and created the electron showers. Then they had to come back to being particles again. This is where they recombine, and they become particles again with the black and the white. All right, this is the same thing here. There's more Higgs as they're coming through, and this one got squished between two other particles. It turned it blue for a second. It's because it's all red. This is a very unusual event. What else am I going to show you here? These are our other Higgs right here. And that's coming at us, and then they're recombining way out here. That one there, I think, might even be antimatter. That one there is backwards. And, of course, when we accelerate the light, we can easily see the particles, and then we can see them separate. All of this stuff is very obvious. And those were the Higgs fields, so that's just another part of the story, is the Higgs fields. And that's what they're looking at. And we can squirt these out all day long, continuously. And when they come out in scads, as you can see. They're talking about creating millions. We can create millions within seconds, not even probably. And they're looking at, for 2029, they may be able to create, I don't know what they said, so many million. This is where the black separates from the white, and then they return here. That's fission, that's fusion. This is pure electron luminosity. I think we can get some free energy here. If we could harvest that right at that spot and pump this down through a thin film pumper, all right, because what's going to happen here is it's going to go bam, 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 bam with these black ones. They can't get through, but they are pushers, boy, and they're going to push the hell out of those white ones. And the white ones are going to come through here and have nowhere to go other than down, and what they do, they go down through the gate, which is the diode. It says you go through there, you can't come back. And then they get filled up in the battery or wherever you want to use them for, to do their work. Those are pushers and shovers. Those are work machines. And a huge amount of that could be created in a very small package. And I mean small, handheld. The power a car, possibly. And without any additional energy, nothing. Never have to add anything to it. And you could carry these around in disasters, fires, wars, anywhere you want. You could have free electricity. And I don't think there's any reason it shouldn't work. These new transition metals that they're experimenting with now, Percosivites, they're absorbing a lot of energy, and with this design we can create a lot of energy. And so they can, if they can absorb it, we can create it, I think. That's what luminosity is all about. That's what I just showed you. You see this? This is what everything is constructed of, these two particles together. They're actually not side by side like that. They're upside down like this. All right? Matter and antimatter, a white and a black. This is in the Majorna phase where it's not the leading particle. This is hard to describe, but this is nothing more than our photons. All right, it's nothing more than these photons right here. All right, that's just like two diaracs side by side. Now, in outer space, the black actually separates from the white if there's excess white. And it appears that the black is gravity. I mean, it certainly looks like it to me. They're all collecting around it, which are the white energetic particles. And this was done in a vacuum chamber in space, in the Russian space station in 2015. And when they saw that, they freaked out. It says, during the experiment, we contacted the Earth guys who couldn't believe it either. The guy from Max Planck locked himself in his office for 3 weeks because he freaked out. They didn't expect this. They thought there was going to be stripes of them going this way and that way, creating like a lattice in there because they're all pushing each other apart. No. The black particles get pushed to the center and the white particles surround them, which is dipole electron flood theory. And I could prove that this happens because when an atomic bomb goes off, the center dark part doesn't go until after the white parts go. And it shows the house burn, and then the black parts come and knock it down. Because they're always on the inside of everything. That's why we've never seen them. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I've shown you the dark matter. I believe that's dark matter, dark energy, and gravity. And it's always surrounded by white particles. These are those same particles of these two back to back, which is, the black is very attractive, but it doesn't emit, it doesn't radiate, it doesn't do anything, so you never see it. And they're always surrounded by white particles. If you took this is what all particles look like from protons up. When you get down in this range here, they're just side by side muon and electron neutrinos. Once you get into protons and up, where they become stable because they're coated with a certain number of electrons, and it happens to be 1823 particles make up the proton. And at that exact number, and I can't tell you why, it goes boop, and it locks in, and it says, I'm good, I don't want any more guys coming up. Nobody else can get in here. And another electron will come up and say, I want to get in because I want to get to that dark matter that's in the inside. And it says, no, we have just enough guys. You cannot get in here. And it says, well, what do? I said, well, you can stay right out there in that quantum distance. But we will push you away and you will try to get into the black matter, but we're not going to let you get in. And I can show that with a toy. It's called tractor beam magnets. Now, and I can also show you in an atomic bomb blast that when the atomic bomb goes off, all the white particles, which have no mass, all they do is have bounce to them. That's why anything you see is a white particle. If you see it, that's the glowy particles. Everything you can see here is a glowy pushback particle, bounces. The light hits it, it bounces back at a frequency that your eyes can see. The other frequencies are going to bounce back that are going to be heat and so forth. You can't see them, but they're still radiating. That's what sound is too. All right, so when that goes off, it will burn the house and then it'll hit the house. These have no mass. This is all the mass. And they always pretty much go together. In the outer space, you can separate them, and you can do just like the Russians did. You could make a black hole out of them. And the things coming off the sun are coming out in all kinds of different particles. You might get a whole batch of just all by themselves white ones, because we know we can separate them. And you may get a whole batch of just all by themselves black ones. And the black ones are going to attract white ones. That's why there's probably zillions of black holes they have no clue about. Every white glowy part out there is probably basically a black hole, because the blackness goes to the center. It's just the way it is. Okay, this is Atom Central, shown this hundreds of times. This is what happens in an atomic bomb blast. This is in slow motion. And again, the bomb goes off, they compress everything, and all of the white particles go out first. And they burn, but they have no mass. Then comes the carrier particle, which is the black muon, and hits and knocks the house over. It does not burn. So let's watch that event happen. The first thing you're going to see is everything lights up, like all the molecules in air now have been lit up, but nothing's moving. You see, the house hasn't moved. It's just vaporizing. Now the vaporize is the white particles. Now comes the black particles. Boom, there it goes. Now the house is done. You hear this is slow motion. Now it's turning around and coming back. That shows that what I'm saying is correct. All particles are surrounded by the white particles. Everything that you can see is because it's bounced back at you by one of the white particles. Alright, this is Latham's crazy machines, tractor beam magnets. What he's got here is a whole batch of negatives, and he's going to put a center positive, which is the black. So he's got all the white particles out here, and he's going to put the black in the center. That creates the nucleus, just exactly like I say. The black will be right in the center of this, completely coated with the white particles. So when he puts the black in here, it will create a nucleus. So here he goes. I'm going to just let it play. He's going to take a big positive and put it in the center of all those negatives. See it? Boom, watch. He's going to put it in there and push it right in the center. So now we have our dark matter in the center, and we have our white matter surrounding it. So now, watch what happens. Another white this is more white matter. Well, it's actually the same thing. It's more of like this. But it wants to get in there with its negative to get into that center dark matter. And this will say, no, we have enough negatives here, you can't come in. And it says, I want to get in. And it says, you can't. It's going to be a dipole too. It's going to be a positive and a negative here. The same as everything. Everything's a dipole. So it will come up and it will try to get in there. Boom. So no, you can't. You can stay right there. That's it. Case closed for you. We have here, why is it doing that? We have plenty of particles that are surrounding our dark matter right now. We do not want any more. Now, if we had a bigger dark matter in there, instead of one, we might have 10 coming all the way around it trying to get in. Or 20 or 50 or 100. Those are called your valence, your orbits. The valence ones are the furthest out ones, but your orbitals are going to collect in orbits. And he shows that too, way out here. Groups of them. Coming out here around, surrounding the center. and then he's moving things around on the outside. They see where they are? They're in between this and this. This is making a magnetic field right here. This is making a magnetic field right here. That's snuggling right into the between. That's in the in-between. This is in the in-between. They're all going to be on the in-betweens. And then more of them will come up and they'll say, I want to get in. And they'll say, no, you got to stay in that in-between and out here. And then they'll start getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the furthest out ones, they call the valence shell. Everybody want to get into this, but everybody pushes and shoves back and forth. So, I'm going to leave it at this. That cut off a little early, but they're talking about the Higgs bosons, and they're talking about in 2029, they're going to be able to see 15 millions per year of these Higgs bosons compared to 3 million from 2017. Well, guess what? We could see millions in minutes, and I showed you that, and here they are. They're all over the place, these Higgs bosons. When you know what to look for, here they are. And we can squirt them like on steroids. You see this? Every one of those is a Higgs boson. All right, so we got a little work to do, and we're going to be talking about Tesla's work and Hutchison and all the people that have been ignored, and they still don't know what's going on here. Physicists, they can't figure this out. I understand what's going on there. I'll be honest with you, I do understand. And this is the most interesting part right here, where this meets that. Now, that I'm still working on that a little bit, but I do have an idea of what's going on there. It's a collision of fields, it's obvious. But this wants more to drain the electricity to the ground. That's why it's absorbing so much. So there's two different subtle effects going on here at the same time. We got a lot of thinking to do. And that's what Tesla said. Think. Use your own mind. Think.